Go ahead.
Okay, in our Grayling gallery, we have birch bark baskets, we have nature photographers. This is a wonderful glass artist. This hangs on my bathroom wall. We have, of course, a lot of fish things because of the river. This is a print of an original oil. We have metal workers, little Michigan map with the UP in the appropriate proportion. We have several potters. And when someone comes in, Mr. Customer,
Okay.
and let's say you're looking at this,
Let me come over to the table then. Hi, everybody. Hi, is this a gallery?
hi, how are you? Of course it is. We've been waiting just for you to come in.
Oh, so fantastic.
Where are you from?
Oh, I'm from out of town. I live in a small place just outside of Detroit.
Oh, well, I grew up in Dearborn, so I know most of those, and they're not near as small as Grayling. But isn't it wonderful? Look at our gallery. We've got all these different things.
It's really fantastic.
Are you interested in pottery?
Well, I've always been interested in purple, and this really has a lovely shape to it, and it has good proportion. What else can you tell me about it?
Well, the gal that makes it is married to a pediatrician, and she was burned very seriously in a fire when she was very young.
Oh, dear.
And she always said she was going to marry a doctor, and she did, because she was in and out of hospitals all the time.
Mhm.
And that's what she does. Her name is Heidi. Anyway, for $70, this can go home with you.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Or,
What else do you have today?
I don't know, do you have a place in your house for a fish?
There are a lot of places in my house that could have various things. What can you tell me about this? It looks like a print.
It is. It's a print of an oil, and I don't know a whole lot about it. This is someone who's new to the gallery. I haven't met them yet. I'm not much of a fish person, but the fishermen that come in seem to think that they're very realistic, and I like the fish that you fry and serve with a little lemon butter.
These are better caught and released, but they're nice anyway. Actually, that's a walleye, so that would actually be a very
Oh,
fun
is it
eating.
really? Yeah, that'd be a wonderful eating fish.
Yes.
We have glass artists, we have basket makers. This is something new that we're starting. This is our jewelry clinic on the second Monday of every month.
Oh. So this allows you to repair various things or take...
It allows you
something-
to bring things in, and we will do either minor repairs or what I do, and here's one of my cards.
Thank you.
I restring and repurpose. So if you have an old jewelry box from your mom or your grandma, and you got a bunch of stuff in there that's broken, and your wife, girlfriend, whatever, doesn't like it because it's too long, it's too short, it needs to be up here, it's broken, bring it in, we'll play with it. We're almost free. We do this because it's fun. And to be honest with you, we do it to get you to come into the gallery and look at our other stuff.
Oh, fascinating. Tell me a little bit about this piece. It drew my eye when I first came in.
This
and
is
I don't know that much about
something called fused glass, and I don't know how she does it, but we sell a lot of them. I like them because they're perfect for a small place. My house started out as a cottage. You know, I've got little tiny places like this. And I ran into her up at Art on the Rocks in Marquette. And I had never met her, but I said, oh, I recognize your work. And, you know, that made her real happy. And she's got bigger ones and different ones, but these are the ones that we really sell a lot of. I have something else to say here. Are you looking for a gift? Are you
it.
just want to wander? Wandering is
I
fine.
wanted to come in and see the gallery to get a feel for what was here. I wanted to get an item for my home, and I've got a couple of occasions coming up, so I might be looking for a gift item.
We're happy to gift wrap for you.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah. Well, we're all kind of artsy here. We like to fold and do all kind of fun stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, it was certainly a pleasure to meet you.
Pleasure to meet you too.
And
Now,
it's easy, or it's not, you know.
how's this different than what you often see in retail sales environments around here?
My Aunt Edna, a wonderful, wonderful woman. My mom was one of 14, and my Aunt Edna's been gone about 5 years, about this tall. Owned a meat market, grocery store, liquor store on Michigan Tech's campus. You walked in the door, and she knew your name. She knew what you needed. She knew what was on special back in the meat market. And she taught me how to make change when I was 10, and I was running the store by the time I was 12. And I loved it. I've always loved retail. When I would go shopping with her anywhere, we'd walk in the door, and within about 2 minutes, she'd say, "Excuse me? Excuse me? Is this a retail establishment? Would you like me to spend my money here? You didn't say hello." So when someone comes in your door, you say hello immediately. "Hi, how are you doing?" If you're on the phone, if you're another customer, it doesn't matter. You have to greet your person, let them know that you're happy that they're there.
Mhm.
And then you have to be attentive without hovering. People don't like to be treated like thieves. You know, if you're going around after them and watching them. And we have a great time in the gallery. It's the old Ben Franklin's. It's a big building. And there's not usually a lot of people in there at the same time. And if I'm doing something at the desk, I'll yell at whoever came in and said, "You doing okay? Do you want me to get you something?" Or it's just a wonderfully relaxed atmosphere.
And we don't see that everywhere. I mean, I've been
No,
in
we don't.
galleries where people just kind of sit there like a bump on the chair,
Mhm.
and they're reading their book.
That's right,
And they
that's
couldn't be
what she
bothered
does.
with you, and you have to ask, how do you make the situation work so that people know that you're interested in what they need?
You have to talk to them. Absolutely have to talk to them. And if you can pick out by the way they're dressed or who they're with or something. Speaking of the way you dress,
Let's do a little experiment. Now, I came in dressed this way to do a presentation. And if you see me on the street like this, you make certain assumptions. But let's change this up just a little bit and see what happens.
and while he's doing that, when I am at the gallery, I always wear something I've made. Always, always, always. I've got bracelets. Nancy, that lives in Roscommon, made this one. I wear other people's arts, but I wear kind of just a little bit more flamboyant things because I'm an artist. And if you're dressed appropriately, people will know what to do with you. Now, when I'm in the gallery and I'm working, if I'm putting up a wall or doing something, then I'm in jeans and sweatshirt. But I'm never torn up, I'm never dirty, and if I am dirty, it's dirt I can, wash off because I've just gotten dirty there. One of the things that's really important is you cannot judge your customer by how they look, but they're going to judge you how you look. And a pet peeve of mine is they're going to judge you by the way that you speak. The worst sentence I've ever heard. My brother, he done seen himself in the mirror. I almost broke into tears. If you present yourself in a professional way, you're going to get away with a lot. My mother always used to say, if you know nothing at all about what you're doing, at least if you're grammatically correct, you don't sound like an idiot. Hey, what are you doing here?
That's a good question. I came in to rob the store.
Oh, I thought you were the plumber.
Could be. Now, to be fair, there are certain situations where different attire makes a big difference. If I look like I'm wearing a hoodie and have the hoodie up so people can't see me, people might make one assumption. But I did work for 14 years in recreation, and quite often I would talk to large groups of people dressed kind of like this. I had somebody else's business name on it, but that was the job. And we always trained our staff to realize that even though you may be dressed very casually because there's a lot of physical labor involved in what we're doing, you still have to be able to look at your customer, anticipate what their needs are, and come up with solutions that make sense. You can throw $1 million at something that may or may not work. You might say, if you just flip that switch, you'll take care of it. I still remember us working electronics and somebody wanted to make sure that they could play their guitar through both sides of their amplifier. And they want to go out and buy a keyboard and do all these other things. It's, all you have to do is push the button that says mono. Sometimes it's that simple. But people remember that. And people come back when they get that level of service. You know, my father was in contracting and he often said, we're not the cheapest, but we are the best. And it makes a difference. If you're trying to sell the value, you'll have a hard time making a go of it. If you can show that you have a niche in the market and that you have skills above and beyond what others do, you'll be successful.
And you have to dress for your market too. When I was downstate, I was a suit and heels every day. Well, I came up here, and after about 3 months of mincing around in heels on people's deck, I said, you know, enough of this, and I casual it right up. And that kind of put people off to the suit and the tie, or the business suit. For me, people thought I was, you know, too city for Grayling.
Or for anywhere around here.
Well, Grayling, you know, Crawford, Roscoe, the whole thing. And you kind of have to present yourself in a combination of things. Now, if we have an event going on at the gallery, if we have a concert or a featured artist, I'll go in striped tights and a little lacy thing with a down here and spike heels and look goofy, because I'm an old lady. But then I'm eccentric, being an artist. And for just normal days, you know, black pants and usually my boots. But if you blend, but you still are just a little bit more professional. I was in the gallery one day 2 winters ago. It was a Sunday. I went in after church. There was a blizzard going on, and it was sleet and rain and hail. It was March. And this woman comes in Carhartt overalls with great big snowmobile boots unlaced, every hair going a different direction. And I thought, well, she probably needs a bathroom. You know? Hi, how are you doing? And she spoke very well. And we talked for about 10 minutes. And she said, well, I want to go look at some things. Fine, you know, I pushed her in the right direction. And she said, I'd like this one, this one, this one, and this one. Do you want me to take them down, or do you want to take them down? And when she left, she had about $800 worth of artwork with her. And I said, well, you're going to have to do it because I can't. I've had rotator cuff surgery on both my shoulders. And she laughed and she said, well, I'm here because I'm the orthopede at the hospital. She said, I live in West Branch, but I come up on Sunday to see my patients. So here, you know, if I had judged her by how she looked, oh, do you know her? Neat lady. And that really reinforced that you cannot judge someone by how they look, because here she is braving this horrible storm to make sure her patients are okay.
To talk about sales, you have to talk about rejection. And it does happen. How'd you learn to deal with it?
I don't really think I ever had a problem with that, because in my insurance career, I had an excellent product. I believed in it completely. Up until the last 2 years of the 30 years I sold AAA, we never had a rate problem. We were always competitive.
Mm-hmm.
We had excellent claims. So at the risk of sounding tacky, if someone didn't want to buy from me, it was because they just weren't smart enough to realize that's what they needed. And if I could keep my mouth shut about that, you know, maybe they'd recommend me to someone else. But if you have all kinds of confidence in the world about what you sell, if you buy my necklace and it breaks, because every once in a while homemade beaded things break, you bring it back, I'm going to repair it. We stand behind everything. You know, they're a quality product. If you have a good product.
That's really key to it. If you have a good product, if you have something that works well and people need and want, then you're not going to have that much trouble getting people who need it to buy it.
And nobody needs this basket, really.
Not
so if they don't buy it, they're not rejecting me or the basket. They just don't have a place to put it. or they don't have someone to give it to, but if they have a pleasant experience, they'll come back and they'll bring their friends. And that's all you can ask. Once we get them in the door, they always come back.
And it's like we said earlier, you're building in layers. Someone who visits you at first might become one of your best customers over time. This is not an instant on, immediate gratification type of environment.
No, it's
It's a
not.
process, and you have to accept that. So
And you never know when that big sale is gonna come in, or you never know when a new artist is gonna come in and say, well, I make these little, whatevers, and all of a sudden, well, like this lady came in. Our metal worker is a lady, and she makes these little hooks. Can you see it, or? And I love that the UP is, bigger than the mitten, because my family's from the UP. And she sells these for $20 a piece. We can't keep them on the wall. It's a wonderful little hostess gift. You go into someone's cottage for the weekend. I bought 5 of them this morning. I'm going to Tennessee. My friend and her 3 daughters, and her 2nd grade pen pal from Wales is coming. So they're all going to go home with one of these. But she just wandered in one day and said, well, I make these hooks. I'm thinking, yeah, okay, fine. And she went out and brought one in, and I immediately bought it and sent it to my cousin in the UP. He would have thought I sent him $100. So if you have something you like that you can sell, you're just naturally going to be more enthusiastic about it. And if you don't know anything at all about something, I have found the best thing to say is not a clue. I have no idea how that's done, but I can find out for you. And people understand that, and they come back.
don't oversell yourself.
No, I gotta show you this. All this, how to talk, get the customer to talk, it's all about him, not you, showing value. And what do I have there?
The word shut up in capital letters.
Right, there comes a point where you just stand there.
They will tell you if you let them.
Is there any reason why you don't want to take this home today? Now, that's a little pushier than I usually
It's
get.
a little pushier than what you might get.
But when they're going between this, but they want to say no. Someone who wants to say no, if you can say, is there any reason why you don't like this? Well, no, there's no reason why I don't like it. Well, buy it and go home. But you have to play each person differently. And it's fun. It's just amazing fun. I love it. I'm there 4 days a week, and sometimes I get a commission check for $600, and sometimes I get a commission check for $30. But like I said, when you look at your market and decide what you're going to be making and what you're going to be doing, you need to know, am I going to have to feed my family on this, or am I going to do it so I have enough money to go to the next bead show and buy more beads and get myself in trouble again?
But it's important to understand business. It's important to understand what you're really trying to do and what you have to invest in order to get it done.
You have to know what you want your outcome to be, because if you are going to try to make a living at this, you have to have something that will sell. These are tourmaline. I love tourmaline. I bought these about 5 years ago, and the beads cost me about $350. That was a big expenditure for me, real big, which is why I'm wearing them, because nobody's going to buy them. And I love them, and I knew whatever I made, I would keep. Everything I make is real stones. If I use crystal, I use Swarovski. I've got garnets, I've got sapphire. I don't have anything that's this costly. But when people start looking at things, they say, well, I want something that's blue. Well, blue's tough. You're either going to have lapis or you're going to have sapphire. Neither of those are cheap, but I don't use fake beads. But we have other people in the gallery, and I don't say fake. Maybe you would like this. It's not as costly, but it's the right color. So you have to kind of see what someone wants, and most people buy by color anyway. They come in and they say, my couch is green, I need something to go over it, here, have a fish. Our art director, gallery director, Terry Dickinson, is a wonderful painter. He's done murals all over the place. And I commissioned him to paint a portrait of my horse. It's 3 by 5 feet. It's still hanging in the gallery. If you get to Grayling, it's going to be there for a couple more weeks. It's magnificent. It's big palomino and he's running. But Terry came and saw where it's going to hang, and the background is matching with my couch that I'm never going to get rid of. So between the artist and I working together, we created something that I knew what he was going to do and he knew what I wanted, so he created exactly what I wanted. But you can't do that with the public in general. But I do a lot of that. Some will come in and say, well, I really like the bracelet, but they're old, they can't do the clasp. Well, you know what? You show them something like that that's got a magnetic clasp. Anybody can do that. Our population is mature. I have a ton of magnetic clasps, toggle clasps. You do that so that people that are challenged can put it on, or it just can go over your head. And a lot of people come back and say, oh, I went to so-and-so's wedding, and she had the jewelry on that you made, and she said she just, she showed me the magnetic clasp, and the poor woman's got arthritis like this. So there's a different market that you can market to.
Kind of go through your notes for a little bit and see what we should cover before we wrap this up today.
I think we're pretty much there. The goals are so important because you need to make that person happy when they leave. And if you can give them something to remember you by, I've had people come in like once a year on their way to the UP and say, well, I didn't buy anything last time, but I wanted this. And sometimes I remember them, but they remember me, probably because they don't shut up. Distinctive packaging. Before I was in the gallery, I had my jewelry in my insurance office, which ticked off the company, but that was okay. And anytime someone bought something, I put it in a little Chinese carry-out carton, wrapped it in tissue with a little tail sticking out. And out they went carrying this thing, because you couldn't put it in a purse, it wouldn't fit. And I had more people come in and say, I want one of those, what do you, or if you're doing a show, a craft show, if people are carrying that around, they're going to come right back because it's a very distinctive thing. Now, my friend Ann Stevenson owns Riverland Gear. Her bags are wonderful. They're folded newspaper that she buys from some Asian company, and it's the newspaper folded into a bag. People buy stuff there just to get her bags. It's wonderful. Business cards are the most important thing you'll have. Everybody leaves with a business card. Put it in their hand, and then take your hand away so they can't hand it back. There's a few tricks. It's a little bit sneaky, but...
No, it's important. You have to do that. Greet everybody. Shake their hand. Make sure they know who you are and what you're doing, what you're about. It's far too easy for people who are supposed to be selling things to just kind of hang back in the background and hope that someone will come up and talk to them. And that's not going to work. And as always, realize that this isn't personal. You're trying to sell them something. You're not trying to date them.
No,
so
and you're
upset that they don't want to buy it the first time.
And you have something. I think all of these things are of value. I do not want a fish on my wall, but I have friends that fish, and I would buy that to hang on their wall because it's just a neat thing. It's the only. Well, this happens to be a print of an oil, but you can give someone an original gift. This is the only picture in the entire world like this. This is the only string of beads like this. Deb, that makes this, used to own a bed and breakfast up in Copper Harbor. She goes up to Copper Harbor to get the deadfall birch bark to make her, she makes these vases, she makes baskets, she makes a journal or a guest book that is just gorgeous. She binds the whole thing together. It's all in birch bark. It's fantastic. And I've sold more of those books just by telling people, she doesn't go down and cut the tree. She goes all the way up to Copper Harbor, to where she used to live, and gets this birch bark, brings it down here. Well, the next thing you know, his grandma lived in Copper Harbor, and you got him for a half an hour. And then it just works. And recently, in the other half of our building, they've opened a brewery and a wine tasting room. So when Mrs. Artmeyer comes in with Mr. I don't want to be here, park him at the bar, put a beer in front of him, she comes back, and 2 hours later, they're both happy. You
You
just have-
know, why don't they have bars and malls? That's the reason why.
And I think that's about all I need to say. I don't know. Is it time for me to shut up? Did
If
you
have a
want to
couple
ask us
questions for us,
anything?
we'll take them.
Are you here because you're starting a business, or you're just interested, or you felt bad that nobody was here?
Well, no, well, kind of a couple of both. One, I myself just started selling Mary Kay. And so-
Yay!
Yep, so, it's kind of something to do for a hobby and get going into maybe a little side business. But the other is, I work in admissions for the college, and just by listening, you can pick up some ways of which to relate to people better, because you get in a lull,
Yes.
you just, it becomes your norm, and so this is a good way to remind us of some of those key points, which is what I was scribbling down.
My Mary Kay director taught me wonderful, wonderful, wonderful things. That was a very, very, very valuable education to me.
Yeah.
How long, may I ask, have you been?
Oh, just a month on Monday. This coming Monday will be a month. So
Good
I'm
for
very
you.
new. Yeah. But I like your distinct packaging, because I'm like, oh, I could do something different.
Absolutely, yeah. And the little Chinese cartons are cheap. You can get, I don't know, 1,000 of them for maybe $30. They last forever. And I only have done a few craft shows or art outside, because there's one person, you know, my stuff is real stealable. You need another person, I don't do that anymore. But I had more people, you know, there's no way to carry one of those except like this.
Right.
And then people would start coming over. It was wonderful. Well, I wish you all the luck in the world in your Mary Kay.
Thank you.
I would not put anything else on my face for any reason. And that was 30 years ago that I was in the business. And I started my AAA business that way. The first people I called was my Mary Kay book. Hi, Susie, this is Linda at Mary Kay. How are you doing? What do you need? Okay, we can get you that. Guess what I'm doing? I am selling insurance now. I had so much fun with Mary Kay, but you know, that's mostly at night, and I gotta do this during the daytime, so let's talk about insurance. It was great. And I met a lot of wonderful, real creative, motivated, positive women, because you cannot go to a Mary Kay sales meeting and be down.
Right.
Like in the insurance world, sell, sell, sell. Well, you know, that doesn't work for me. I present something of value, and if someone buys it, that's great.
That's what you're supposed to do. Thanks for coming out.
Thanks you very much.
Thanks for
Yeah.
watching.
This was fun.